hashtag one deck gone wild. I'm ready for this. Are y'all ready? Let's do it. Hey you guys, it's Dani and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing hashtag one deck gone wild. This is a little old, I know. I'm late to the game, but I'm here nonetheless. So I stumbled across this VR, gosh, about a month or so ago. I saw Sandy's video from Exploring Tarot. I'm gonna link that down below. If I'm not mistaken, this was a community tag that was kind of created on a Discord server, and then everybody kind of did their own thing. There are 37 questions. Now, I did not, I'm not gonna do all 37. There were some that were so clever and so creative, but like, y'all, my brain was like, you're gonna take 3,000 years to think of the answer to this. Like, don't do it. So I weeded a few out, but I still got a huge chunk. I don't know how many because I didn't renumber or recount. We're just gonna methodically go through this in order. So grab a drink. I got a huge ass coffee. We're about to get into some fun stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this. I have this up on my screen. Well, I'm about to have this up on my screen. There we go. So let's get started. What deck did I choose? Mystic Masters. So number one is, why did you pick this deck? So the reason I picked this deck is because I always shy away, for whatever dumb reason, neurotic. Anyway, I always shy away from talking about Mystic Masters because I feel like everybody's gonna do the eye roll and like, of course she's gonna talk about her deck. Like, I don't know why I'm like this. Of course I want to talk about my deck. It's my deck. I wanted to see it in this world. I created it. But I don't often share that a whole lot, and I love it so much. And I use it so much, and I never get to, I don't know, just like have fun and let loose and share that love as much as I think I should. So I decided I'm using Mystic Masters for this. So after that over explanation, let's just go ahead and get into the other questions. Okay, favorite set of minors. So it took me a hot minute because I was like, I don't know, do I like all the aces? Do I like all the fives? Do I like all of this? And then I was like, I don't know. There's not like a set. Like I could say, oh, I really like all the wands, or I really like this, but it was really hard to choose. So instead, I decided to choose my favorite 1 through 4. So my favorite ace, 2, 3, and 4. So those are, oh my goodness, I'm having so much trouble getting this to focus today. The Ace of Wands, by far my favorite ace. I love the passion, the excitement that it brings. It's got more than one person in it, so it kind of shows that social aspect of the fire, of the wands. I don't know, it brings me life. Every time I see it, I'm just like, yes, that passion. I love it. The 2, my favorite 2, is the 2 of Coins. We have Fortuna on this globe down here. We have a huge sail, really trying to balance things out. Now that we have 2, we really have to show those dynamics. And it's like, yes, there might be a little bit of turmoil going on. You got balance to do, but like once you get the hang of it, you can. And so this is my favorite representation of a 2. My 3 of Cups, hands down. I love this 3. It is my favorite 3. Can you tell? And for the 4, I'm gonna go with the cup again. I love this 4. I love it. Like, you can see the expressions on their faces, really eager, really trying to get her attention, and she's just like, I don't have time for y'all bullshit. I don't have time for it. I'm doing my own thing. I'm in my own little world. I'm not interested in the opportunities you're trying to bring. I'm just trying to take a bath. I love her. I love her. Okay, next. What card reminds you to relax when it comes up? King of Cups. And the reason I say that is because he's here with his queen. There is a safety about it, right? Like, they're both lovingly looking at each other. It's like, you can relax. You're safe here. This king is now well aware of how to treat people, how to balance his emotions. He understands that his words have meaning. They can hurt and they can heal, and he knows how to use them, and he's conscious of that. So much so that he feels secure enough to have his queen by his side. He doesn't shy away from sharing that because he knows it takes a well-rounded person. And so this just makes me feel like, oh, I can relax. I have somebody looking out for me and somebody on my side. So I really like this King of Cups. Your favorite representation of the color blue? The Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups. I mean, yes, it's mostly all blue, but like, look at all the water and the splashes. Everything is overflowing. I want to be here. I want to be the blue. I love the Ace of Cups. Favorite blue. Next question is your favorite representation of blank. So in this deck, man, I almost chose the devil, but instead I chose my favorite representation of the magician. So come on. So there's lots going on in this magician. And the reason that I chose this as my favorite representation of a magician is because of what's going on. There is a pot she's got in her hand, so we have her cups, and there is just this smoke undulating all around her. She's got her hands out. There are things kind of, I don't know if you can see, the dots that come from her hands. There is a crown, there's a scepter, there's a bowl, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. This is where she figures out that she understands what's going on. She's honing her craft. She's got the tools. She's putting things into place. This feels like alchemy to me. It's almost as if she is the precursor to our temperance. This is where she learns that she's got the tools. Now she's got to figure out how to use them, how to manipulate them in the proper way to get what she needs. And later, with that temperance comes the real true alchemy. Once you understand how all the pieces work separately, you can put them together, you can moderate, you can create something new. And so that's why I chose the magician for this. I'm so sorry. I have been messing with this daggum thing to try to get it to oh my god, focus right, like come back quickly, and I don't know why it's not doing it today, so I've already restarted this twice. She clueless. Your girl's still trying. Okay, next. What makes you feel nostalgic? What card makes you feel nostalgic? For me, that's the World. And the reason I think this makes me feel the most nostalgic is because this is the very first card I ever worked on. It's where my idea came to start working on the majors. It's what inspired me to create this whole deck. And so every time I see the World, it just kind of feels like home. It feels like completion. It feels like this is where you started and where you ended. And so for me, the World card is where the nostalgia lies in this deck. Next, what card shifts your perspective? I know these are a lot of majors right now, I'm sorry. But the High Priestess, she shifts a lot of things for me. A lot of times when I think of a High Priestess, you see this kind of goddess type vibe sitting in front of this veil. But she's walking with it. She's got time in her hand, right? she is walking between the worlds. She's not merely sitting. She's not just accessing. She's walking in between two worlds. It's being in two places at once. And when I read the tarot, that's how I feel. It's almost trance-like sometimes when I'm really connected with an energy well. And so when I think of a shift of perspective, I always think of the High Priestess in this deck, because she really shifts that for me. It's like, oh no, you're not just touching it or peeking through, you're walking this line, and I really love that. Your favorite animal that's represented. Okay, so I don't have many animals represented in this deck at all, and y'all know I love a good weird animal. But after looking through, I have to say, let's see if we can show her. Come on. Her. Right here. This little cow right here. Because listen, this chariot, he's got his torch. This is where they're going. He's leading the way. He seems pretty confident. But this old heifer is not convinced. Oh no, she's like, trust but verify, fam. Trust but verify. I don't know you. There she is. Trust but verify. She's not too sure he does know, but she gonna follow him anyway. She's not convinced. She's not convinced. Oh, I love this question. Up next, which court card reminds you the most of heartbreak? The Page of Coins. I mean, look at that face. Look at that face. So the reason this reminds me of heartbreak so much, aside from the look on his face, is that when I think of a Page of Coins, you know, this is where you're learning. This is where you're trying to get your feet planted firmly on the ground. And I feel like this is where you learn if you're cut out for it or not. And so I feel like just the way that this is oriented, come on. Like, you really see that. This is where this page is really learning and trying to figure out if he's cut out. And that can cause a lot of heartbreak. So I just thought it was really interesting. It made me think, because I also really love the Page of Cups. Because the Page of Cups always reminds me of like a Romeo figure, where it's like everything is just like googly eyes, you know, excited, wanting to learn, wanting to go all out and go all at it, and that can be very painful. But there's something about this Page of Coins that makes me feel like, I don't know, there's heartbreak there. There's definitely heartbreak. Next, let me color the ones that I've already done so I don't go back and I don't miss. Okay, so next, if you made this deck a meal, what would it be? I thought this question was so much fun because immediately I was like, a gumbo. I would make this deck a gumbo because it's hearty. That's what it reminds me of. So I'm like, what would it want to eat? It would want to eat a gumbo because it's I don't know, it's like heavy and delicious. It's like meaty. I don't know, it has a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all wrapped into one. And so I would make it a gumbo. Now, something you would change about the deck. I could easily say I would want to change this image or that image, or, you know, do this color a little differently, or blah blah blah. But honestly, I think the biggest thing would probably be like creating a better box for it, like a 2-piece box with like a nice guidebook. I would love that. But since I did this independently, very, very small runs, and now it's on Make Playing Cards, it wasn't that kind of project. I wanted to see this birthed. I didn't want to go through a long process and gain funding and do this, that, and the other. I kind of just wanted to create this and put it out into the world without the bells and the whistles, because this was just more, I don't know, like for me to see and for me to share. So I didn't go into all that, although if I had like all the startup money and all the things in the world, I would definitely revamp, redo, go buck wild, but I still love it as it is. Up next, which card would you hang in a room of the house? The Three of Cups. I mean, technically it's not my house. It's my shop. But the Three of Cups is my favorite image. The depth of color, the beauty. I'm obsessed with that image. I love it so much. And not just like, oh, I colored that in and I created all those marks. Like, the image itself, even plain, just the etching is a beautiful, beautiful work of art. And so with the depth of colors that's on there, it's by far my favorite, and I do consider it a piece of art. Something that sets the deck apart. So I really, honestly, I sat here for a while and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But you know, in the same way that I think everyone can say about a deck that they've created is like, what sets it apart? These are my interpretations. And while they're similar to tarot in general, the whole, you know, it's like based on an RWS type system, scenic minors, you know, basic archetypes. It's the art and the eye that I bring to the images and the composition. I think that sets it apart in the same way that every deck does. If I have to say like, oh, this is unique, it's not unique. In a way that it's a curated deck. It's not unique as in, I use watercolors. Plenty of people use watercolors. I use mixed media. You know, a lot of people use mixed media. A lot of people add textures. A lot of people add an element of collage or, you know, paper art. It's like, it's all put together and curated through my lens. So maybe that's what sets it apart. If Mystic Masters deck would have one superpower, what would it be? X-ray vision. That's what it would have. It could see through the heart of things. That's one thing I will say. It's like it penetrates. So yeah, definitely X-ray vision, because I feel like, I don't know, I love using this deck for past life readings. I love using this deck when we need some kind of nitty-gritty type of answers. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna go to the heart of the matter, because it was made that way. You know what I mean? It was made thinking of the depth of each card as much as possible. And so that would be the superpower for sure. Who would you gift a copy of the deck to if you could? Gosh. You know who I would gift a copy to if I could? My grandmother. So, my mama, which is what I called her name was Verna, aka Vern. Okay, let me tell you something about Vern. Vern was a hype woman. Do you understand me? Everything you showed her, I'd be like, Mama, check this out. And it was, oh, baby, that's beautiful. Oh, that's so nice. Listen, Verna would hype you up. And she never got to see me do any of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she would understand a lot more of it than I may be like giving her credit for. But one thing that she would do is love the art, just as a thing to look at. She might not understand it or get it really, but like to be able to show her like, I did this, I made this, and like answer the questions, because I know she would have a ton of questions. She would appreciate the whole aspect of the whole process, not just because it's a tarot deck, but because of the whole process and the whole creation. And it would give me the greatest joy to do that. If the deck had its own collection, what would it collect? I think it would collect coins. Or like, just like ancient artifacts, maybe. Like, because like, when I say coins, I don't mean like new coins or like vintage coins from, you know, whatever. I'm talking like ancient stuff. Like ancient artifacts, ancient coins, ancient arrowheads, or, you know, fossils and shells. Like, it would just have this really eclectic, old world feel to it. I think that's the kind of collection it would have. Oh, draw 3 random cards. Bed, wed, behead. Okay. I'm literally gonna do this like this. Okay. Bed. What we got? Oh. Well, he's already got a head start. Come on, man. This daggum thing. There we go. We have the 4 of Swords. I guess we're gonna bed this dude. I have just sprayed all these cards all over. Let's go to the next one. Wed. Technically, I have wed the 8 of coins because he's a hairdresser. How precise. Okay. Behead. This one. Oh. The 9 of Wands. Yeah, 9 of Wands. I don't have time for his BS. It's too much pomp and circumstance for me. What's the deck's signature or favorite scent, flavor, etc.? Ooh, the smell of old books. Oh. Oh, that's gotta be it. You know, I was like, oh, maybe like the smell of amber, because like I always have amber resin in my drawer right here from my tarot cabinet. And so a lot of my decks do kind of smell like amber resin or amber oil. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe that, but like, no. The smell of old books would definitely be what Mystic Master's favorite scent would be, for sure. So how old does the deck believe that it is? Well, obviously, Mystic Masters thinks that it is definitely still back in the 17th century for sure. I feel like it does feel like an old deck that's been given new life. And so this deck believes that it is centuries old. Okay, so this next question, I laughed out loud because I interpreted it in a completely different way right off the bat when I read it. It says, who's the deck's father? And I was like, okay, so who in this deck is daddy, right? And I mean, I'm just gonna go with it, because who's the daddy of this deck? I'm sorry, baby, but it's Big Booty Judy right here. Can y'all see Big Booty? Come on. There he is. Look at that. This is it. I mean, of course, we do have Apollo in the Sun card, who is also a Big Booty Judy, but this is daddy, baby. I love it. Anyway, what is the gender of the deck? Or does it identify as a gender? I don't think that Mystic Masters is very gender oriented in that way. It definitely feels more fluid, like it is open, right? There is a fluidity about it. There is a, I don't know, and it's like, in some ways I'm like, there's almost like a raw, like, nakedness about it, but a genderless type vibe. Like, I don't feel like it's incredibly masculine. I also don't feel like it's incredibly feminine. I just feel like it skates along, it flows through. So no gender associated with this deck, I feel. Next, your most and least favorite card, and why? Okay, let me think. My favorite card is the Death card. Why? There is something so striking. God dog it, I keep knocking everything over. There is something so striking about this image. Like, I even have it in one of my paintings up here when I painted my mocking portrait of Henry. I opted to put the Death card in his hand. It's beautiful. It feels so valid to me. I don't know. There's something about not only the imagery, but like the way that the ombre of colors kind of came through, where it's like dark into a little bit more light. There is almost like a vignette that kind of creates itself. It almost makes it feel dreamlike. So that's, I don't know, it's just my favorite card. My least favorite card, that was a tough one. My least favorite card is probably this one, and I don't know why. Come on. And that is the Seven of Wands. I don't know why, because I really love the image. Like, I like the representation because we have somebody on the higher ground. We have the other people kind of finally kind of backing away, backing down a little bit. I don't know why. This is the one that I love, that it represents what I'm trying to see in a Seven of Wands, but it's just not my favorite image. I don't really have a reason. Maybe because I feel like it's not... I don't know why. It is. I don't know. And maybe because, maybe a little bit of it is because I feel like I struggled so much trying to find the right image for it, that when I finally found something that I was like, oh my god, this actually represents or like shows what I want to see, that I was just like, this is it. And at that point I was just like so exhausted trying to figure out this card in particular, that I was just like, whatever, this is what I'm doing, you know what I mean? And even though it's what I want to see, it represents, it's fine, it's just not my favorite. It's just not my favorite. Next. Does any card remind you of someone, and who? Yes. The Eight of Coins, the Eight of Cups reminds me of Frodo from The Hobbit. Because he left his home behind, and it was scary. It was new, right? You could say the same for Bilbo. So it reminds me of a Hobbit. Because the road ahead is pretty scary. You're leaving everything behind, but it's worth it in the end. Sometimes that's where the growth happens. And so as a concept and as just a visual, it reminds me of Frodo or Bilbo. Which card in the deck do you feel most represents you right now? The Empress. And that's really crazy because I don't normally, I mean, like, I really don't normally relate to the Empress. I'm usually more of a High Priestess Moon kind of girl. That's usually where I feel the most connected. But right now, I feel like the Empress is where it's at. And I think it's because she's different, right? Like she's I feel like maybe it's because of the way she's presenting herself that like I feel like I'm stepping into that in a different way now, where it's like the Empress is in that mother stage, right? We have the maiden, the mother, and the crone, right? And when I think of the Empress, I do think of that mother, but in such a dynamic stance that she's got, where she's exposed but also covered. She's got her arm and even like her legs are like extended, like she is offering of herself. And so I feel like that's kind of where I'm stepping into, where it's like, yes, I am a mother, obviously, but it's not that aspect of the Empress that's corresponding with me. It's like that exposed, this is who I am. I'm confident in who I am and how I am and what I'm doing. I'm here to offer support and help if you need. Like, I feel like I'm stepping into this role more and more as I age, because I feel like we have a tendency to box in that like idea of mother mentality in our lifetime, like in the idea of mother, you know, maiden, mother, crone, like, oh well, if you don't have children, you know, do you skip that? Do you do like, no, it's a state of mind, right? It is that archetype, right? Where it doesn't matter who, what, when, and where, you can mother yourself, right? But it's about feeling confident in your knowledge and your abilities to not only help yourself, but to help others, and to kind of allow yourself to be exposed and open. And this is me, I am who I am, stepping into your own. So I feel like the Empress for sure. Well, here we are, filming on something different because she did. My camera said battery exhausted. And I was like, same sis. So here we are, let's just finish this up. I've been talking way more than you're gonna see. Okay, so which card in this deck makes you laugh? I mean, Big Booty Judy does. Always, 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 always. It just makes me giggle. I love him so much. Like, the hat, the outfit, the booty, baby. I'm here for it. And now, that's Daddy. So, here we go. Last but not least, what is the deck's favorite spread? I'm gonna be honest, it does not like spreads. Like, okay, I do use it for spreads, obviously. I think it does so well. Like, I love using this for anything past life related. I love using this on New Year spreads. But honestly, when I just throw cards down, that's when it does its best work. When there's no box to put it in, it just tells you a story. It just boom, 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 boom. It lays out beautifully, and it speaks beautifully in its own right without having to be specific. So there we go. That is Mystic Masters Gone Wild. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It was a really fun VR to do. It was really fun to go through some of these questions and just goof around a little bit with my favorite deck. So I will see you guys very soon. If you're looking for me or Mystic Masters, all of that is going to be down below in the description, along with 3 Fat Readers, how to book a reading with me, all kinds of other goodies, so you can check that down below. Otherwise, we will see you very, very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah! Later, Gators.